The only problem now is how do I enter this portal, do you ask? This is the point that every Zero advancement run has failed. There is no way to make Eyes of Ender to open the end portal without getting Blaze Rods from the Nether, which, upon entering for the first time, awards you the advancement, We Need to Go Deeper. This advancement is unanimously agreed upon to be completely impossible to avoid.
So far, we've managed to do all of this without getting a single advancement. Unfortunately, this one isn't really avoidable, and entering the Nether actually gives 2 advancements.
We Need to Go Deeper in the Minecraft tab, and Nether, the root advancement of the Nether tab. These are unskippable.
There's literally no way to avoid those. Upon arriving in the Nether, they are both awarded to the player simultaneously.
This sounds pretty cut and dry. It is not possible to beat the game without getting any advancements. However, to me, this sounded more like no one had managed to find a way. See, Minecraft is a game notorious for massive exploits and glitches, so when I first heard this, I decided to look through Minecraft's source code. What I found is that when you enter a Nether portal, the game moves the player into the Nether first. It fully saves your position and dimension, and then checks if it is the first time you are in the Nether, awarding the advancement. Because it happens in this order, if you were to somehow crash the game in between these 2 events, the code that gives you the advancement would never run, but you would still end up in the Nether. The only question is how you would ever pull this off in survival mode without cheating. This was not something I could figure out on my own. In fact, this isn't even the first time I've attempted this challenge. I first discovered this theoretical way to skip the Nether advancements a year and a half ago, but I've never found a way to actually do it for real. It sounded completely impossible, but after every person I talked to, after every dead end, I always held on to a small amount of hope. And the reason I'm making this video is because a new exploit was recently discovered that actually makes this possible. In order to get to the Nether without the advancement, you need to crash the game after it moves the player, but before it awards the advancement. The only problem is that these lines of code are effectively right next to each other. You can't just Alt F4 Minecraft. It would literally be impossible to time. So you also need to crash the game because the player was moved into the Nether. Something during this specific action needs to somehow go wrong. This is where Micahrific and Katie the QT come in. They discovered a brand new exploit that, among many other things, can actually be used to crash the game because the player was moved into the Nether. Their